For episode 3 of the Off the Court podcast, we got one of the top prospects from New Mexico, one of the low-key, most underrated states, I feel like, in the state. He comes from ABC Prep. We got Dylan Chavez. Appreciate you coming on, man, and chopping it up with me. How you doing today?
Doing good, man. Appreciate you having me. Glad we finally got to get on this, talk some hoops. So I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. For the people that don't know, we've been talking for a minute, and schedules got a little crazy, of course, with it being summer too, but glad you're finally here. Let's get into it right away, though. You played at ABC Prep for your junior year. Have you played previously with them, or was this a new season, new team, new everything for you?
So I played with ABC Prep my sophomore, junior year. I lived in Arizona my freshman year, played for Phoenix Prep and EduPrize. Brandon Mason, the head coach at ABC, called me. I was stoked, get back to come home and play in the grind session. So it was like a win-win. I played there my sophomore and junior year. So it's been
Okay.
nothing but good there. And yeah.
So yeah, let's get into it. How do you feel this past season and went? We'll talk about kind of your stats and stuff in a little bit, but 15, 4, and 6 on the season. You had a lot of big games. I just watched the film against Prolific Prep. That it seemed like you were able to take advantage of a couple of ISO situations and a lot of stuff. But how do you feel this last season went? You guys did play in the grind session as well too.
Yeah, I think it went good. If you looked at our record, obviously, we started slow. I think, we really found ourselves as a team, towards the end of the season. I don't know if you saw on the record, we won 2 games in Vegas, which put us in the 2 back-to-back against top 10 teams that put us in the tournament. We got Prolific Prep at home, biggest game of the year. Our crowd was there. We had our fans and everything. We took them down to the wire, but overall, I think we had a great season. We started off a little slow. I wish we could have won more games, maybe, towards the beginning of the season, so we didn't have to play such a tough team, when it came to the tournament. But, I'm happy. I got to play with my guys. 3 of the 5 starters I played with since I was in 6th grade. So I think it was overall just a great season for us and me especially.
And I'm sure, like you talked about having like being able to play Prolific at home. That is such that is such a name, I guess you can say, in high school ball, especially for what they did now this past summer with the guys they added too. Was it a big deal for New Mexico basketball as a whole to be able to have that big of a game, that many prospects, including yourself and the guys you got, but also playing such a top tier team in New Mexico too?
Yeah, I think it was great, because guys like us on the prep team, we get to see that, when we travel and stuff. But for
Mm-hmm.
them to come here and play against us, on our home crowd, I think us even just making it a game, just inspires, the New Mexico kids that, hey, we had a full New Mexico team, we can hang with these 4 or 5 stars. We took them down to the wire, and just seeing all the fans there, like we had a bunch of support, and just, show them that, hey, like New Mexico basketball is legit. We took the number one at the time. I don't know what they were ranked, but like a former number 1 team in the country down to a buzzer beater, it's inspiring. And I hope it, gives hope to all the New Mexico kids that, it can be done, and, that we are slept on. We're trying to change that.
Absolutely. Before we get into New Mexico basketball, what things did you focus on mostly throughout this past season to make those jumps statistically, be able to take more of a, not just like a leadership role, but like a number 1 option type role with ABC Prep too?
Yeah. Going into the season, I was really skinny, kind of small frame. I think the biggest thing I worked on was just in the weight room, putting on weight. Currently, right now, I'm like at 170. I think beginning of the season, preseason, like I was like at 145, 150.
Oh, wow.
So just in the weight room constantly. I've always been able to shoot the ball. I think just like being in the gym, being a very comfortable ball handler was probably the main focus, being able to make reads, come off screens, make plays. So I think the weight on top of the ball handling what really did it for me.
You brought up New Mexico basketball and just be able to, like, show the home court or home fans when you guys are playing on your home court, like a fully New Mexico team. Today I looked at the scene, or today I looked at the scene in New Mexico. I looked at 24/7 Sports, had nobody ranked from New Mexico in their top 24/7 and their composite rankings. For people that may not know much about the basketball scene there, what is the competitive level like for you? What has it been like throughout high school? I know you necessarily haven't played normal like public school ball, but
Yeah.
for being around, like I'm sure some of your friends that play in it, some of the kids you know, what is the competitive level like out in New Mexico?
No, it's competitive. We play it's 6A out here, so it's definitely tough competition. Every game you go to that's like a district away game, the gyms are packed.
Mm.
Basketball is a huge thing. You go to any gym on Friday night, there's going to be a bunch of fans, bunch of students. The atmosphere is great. I don't know if you knew this, but I'm actually playing high school basketball for my last year this year for
Oh,
LaQuay. Yeah, so I haven't really announced it too much, but yeah, so I am playing public this year. I'm gonna play for like my school that's right up the street. I don't know if you're familiar with like Bryce Alford, Coach Alford, Coach the head
where?
coach. He
Yes.
his son Bryce went to La Cueva, so that's just like a notable name that went there. So hopefully, we can bring back a state championship. The gold's Gatorade Player of the Year, and obviously to win it all. So, but yeah, no, the atmosphere is great, the competition's great, and honestly, I'm just excited too. So it's gonna be a fun year.
Well, that's an off the court exclusive. Hell yeah. I barely get I had one about a kid I had on Winters Grady from Portland. He talked about that he was gonna be transferring out of public school. But he hasn't announced where his prep his prep route will be. So I'm not gonna do that. But let's get into that for a second then. Being at ABC for the last 2 years, being at Phoenix Prep like you talked about the year before, you haven't really had, I guess, that the normal high school experience. Did that
Right.
play a factor in you wanting to play for LaQuavia, or what went into your decision to transfer and play for a normal high school team this upcoming year?
No, 100%. I've always went to La Cueva, so I went to La Cueva while I was at ABC Prep, but it's just not the same. Now I'm gonna get to go out there in front of my fans, students, my fan will get to come watch me every game. I think just I'm excited to compete and hopefully bring a state championship back to La Cueva. But the high school experience is definitely one of the big reasons why I did want to come back. And I feel like there's no better way to do that than come back my senior year and hopefully win the thing. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
I definitely agree. My last question on this: there's a lot of kids I've seen the last handful of years look like absolute stars at their public school, and then they make a prep decision and they kind of get, I hate saying it this way, but like they're just another number. They get lost in the crowd of the hundreds of other kids, especially out here in Arizona. It was like Hillcrest for a solid minute, but now you have Compass has come up the ranks and has taken it over. You got Skyline, you got Bella Vista, you got Dream City. It's kind of all over the place. Did
yeah.
that play a factor in being at ABC Prep? You already stand out enough
Right.
as one of the better players in that team, the lead guard, the main ball handler. But was this a was this a chance you thinking that like this is my opportunity to really show why I'm one of the best players, if not the best player in New Mexico?
It's not necessarily like why I went. Obviously, it's cool to play in front of people who have, bashed you on the internet and stuff like that and playing against buddies, but it's not necessarily why I moved. I think it was more of a decision where, I want to watch, I want to have my sisters watch me play. I want to have my grandparents.
Mm,
I want to kind of leave a little bit of legacy. I want to win a state championship for my school. I want to help my teammates. I just want to win. So it's not more like personal. I'm trying to show, obviously, I am trying to show why I am the best player in New Mexico and top player in the country. But I think it's more, team family aspect for me.
yeah, definitely. You made an interesting decision earlier this year. When did you commit to New Mexico State? Was it earlier this year or was it like end of last year?
I committed around September last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you made the decision to commit to play in the WAC for New Mexico State, and then you announced you were also reclassifying. You were going to take a redshirt year and just learn, I guess, everything that you can at the college level. Um,
Right.
with the news regarding the school, the incidents that happened, you decided to decommit earlier this year. after that all broke. If you don't mind sharing, is there any update on your recruitment? Or maybe let's skip that for a second. I'm sure that played a major reason in why you decommitted, but was there anything else that led to your decision? Talks with family, being around, like being able to get some guidance on this, about why you thought it was the best decision for yourself to decommit from New Mexico State.
Yeah. Um, part of the main reason why I committed, is we just, we love the coaching staff. It's very rare for a head coach to recruit players and have personal connections. And the minute, me and Greg, Coach GH started talking, it's like, we had a connection immediately. I went to his camp, I was the MVP. He started recruiting me from the jump. He'd text me, hey, good luck in this game. He'd give me calls, he'd talk to my pops. And, just from like a head coaching point, that's very rare, to have relationships with the head coach.
Right.
And just like him and the way the staff treated us and, being 3 hours from home, it was kind of like a no-brainer for me, and the reason why I committed. So when I found out that 100%, if that staff would not have gone fired, I would have stayed. Throughout all the incidents, I planned on staying, but once the coaches left, it was kind of a deal breaker for me. Just the fact that that's one of the main reasons why we did decide to go there.
So like I was saying, the incidents happen. You decided to decommit from New Mexico State. If you don't mind sharing, is there any update on your recruitment, and where you kind of stand, what kind of schools are interested in you right now?
Yeah, some of the main schools that are interested, they were looking at Air Force, Colorado State, Santa Barbara, Evansville. I'm doing an official visit to Air Force. I'm getting a home. Evansville. I'm going out to Santa Barbara soon. I'm going to be out in Colorado State soon. So those are kind of the main schools. There are some other, but yeah, the recruitment's still good. I'm looking to make a decision around end of September, October-ish, around there.
Okay. Well, you did take a visit to Evansville
Right.
last year. What stood out about their hospitality, and what they've been saying to you possibly about? I know you're not going to make a decision right now of where you're going, but is there anything that has stuck out, I guess, from the schools that are recruiting you, that have caught your eye?
I think it's just the coaching staff. Coach Rags, he watched me play. Me and him are really tight. They brought me and my mom on a visit. We loved it. They just treated us like family. And I think in my recruiting process, that's probably the biggest thing to me is just the relationship with the coaches. I can really care about how big the school is or kind of where it's at. I just want to play and make an impact on the team and, have a good relationship with the coaching staff. So with Evansville, I did feel like, it was family. I felt at home there. So it is, going to be a big option in my recruitment.
You're looked at as one of undoubtedly, if not the best player in New Mexico. And you told me before you were reclassed 2023, but you've now stated 2024. So that's still going to happen. But as you look to commit in the next couple of months, what do you hope to accomplish in the years you will be playing Division I basketball?
Obviously, I want to win. I want to go there and make an impact. Obviously, I want to win a conference championship. I want to go to the dance. I want to make a run. I think that's every kid's dream.
Right.
Run in March Madness. And just like everything else, I want to be first team all conference. I want to freshman of the year. Just stuff like that. I think are really important to me. But if you win, I think that comes along with it. So
At 6'6", like I talked about earlier, you averaged 15, 4, and 6 this past season during your time in the grind session. If people are finding out about you right now for the first time, what would you want them to know about you?
I'm a team player, leader, captain. I like to think of myself that can score at any position. I think I can score on anywhere on the court, all three-level scorer that can handle the ball, make plays, make reads. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win. Dive on the floor, take a charge, just whatever it takes. If you need me to play defense the whole game, I'll play defense. Need me to face guard, I'll face guard. Being 6'6", I personally think I can guard any position on the floor. As you saw in the prolific game, I had to guard, one of their footers. Um, uh, I feel like I can do that and guard Aiden Holloway as well. So just being versatile on the offensive end, I can play point, I can play shooting, I can play small forward, and then just being positionless on defense, I think what makes me really versatile, and it's going to help me in my college, career.
You got a favorite moment from ABC Prep? I saw a couple of dunk videos on your IG and a couple of things you're tagged in, but is there any memories, any things you'll keep with you as you move on from ABC Prep?
I think I think talking with my team, knowing it could have been my last game with them before the prolific game, and just I knew I wasn't going to come back, and I think just really like soaking in the moment and just being with my brothers, for the one last time. I think that meant a lot to me. Even some of my closest friends are on that team. They were seniors: Judy Casals, Gideon Harris, Ty Newey. I think just being on the court, and then I got subbed out of the game, with I think 10 seconds left. I fouled out. I think just like walking away and kind of getting a ovation from the crowd and dapping up, my dad who was on the bench, and Brandon Mason, our head coach, and just my teammates one last time. I think that's a special moment for me.
Was it kind of a hard decision for you to do? I hate to bring it up so much, but um
Yeah.
I'm like you said, it wasn't an easy decision, but like how tough was it on you to be like, I'm moving on from a great opportunity. Like it could be looked at as a major blessing in your life that's, elevated your recruiting to another level, I'm sure. But how tough was that decision to move on from playing with guys you call your brothers to go back and play high school basketball?
It was tough. I'd known B May since I was a kid, literally since I was a kid. He always treated us like family. We still, hang out here and there, but it was tough. And I think it just came down to, just being at home and kind of playing for, my high school that I kind of grew up watching guys play. I grew up watching, the La Cueva El Dorado rivalry. I grew up watching Bryce Alford. And I think, I kind of did what I needed to do in the prep scene. But it definitely was tough. Definitely one of the hardest decisions. And there's no reason why I specifically left ABC, if that makes sense. The
Mm.
program was fundamentally great. We had weight training, we had film every day, we had practice, we have three assistant coaches that really, really care about us. And I think anyone that does go to ABC is making a great decision. Like I said, I have nothing against them. It's just more of like a family thing for me, and just
Yeah.
being able to do what I've looked up to guys doing for years. So
There's something I've noticed about being a homegrown kid being able to win a state championship. I'm originally from Canada. I've said that a handful of times on the show, but when I moved down here, I just noticed high school sports is a different breed. It's
yeah,
just kind of like college football for small towns. It's like everyone, and I'm sure since New Mexico is kind of, it feels like a small town state
yeah,
already. Like I'm sure, like you talked about, it's more of a family thing. I'm sure people understand that 100% just because of the impact that you could have in your town if you do bring home a state championship, especially as a senior, as a guy that's going to go and play Division I basketball too. Um, Speaking of that, who are the people you see in yourself? Who are others, or who do other people say your game reminds like them of you? I saw a little bit of JJ Redick, but like young JJ Redick, how you shoot the
yeah,
ball. You're a little bit more athletic. I'm not gonna lie. You're able to
yeah.
put down some dunks. You're more athletic, being able to drive to the rim. But who are some guys you try to emulate off? Who are some people your coaches have told you you've played like in the past?
That's funny you say that, because my trainer, he's also, my best friend. His name's Steven. He tells me I play like JJ Redick all the time.
Okay, I'm not wrong.
Yeah. I I kind of try to go for more like the D book Tyler Hero, but
Hey, that's fine.
I guess I do play like JJ, so I am trying to make my game more versatile. Putting the ball on the floor a little bit more, making more passes. Bringing the ball up. So, but yeah, that is funny because my trainer always says JJ Redick and Duncan Robinson and those kinds of guys. So But
Hey,
yeah,
I mean, JJ, I think made like over 100 million bucks, and his
yeah,
most of his career was coming off ball screens and shooting threes. So if you're able to make a career out of that, man, I would say go for it. But I definitely see the D book since you're also 6'6", lengthy, really athletic. But is there anyone specifically you watch a lot of film off of? I know you said Hero and Book. Are those the two guys for you? What about their games kind of speak to you and you try to play off like?
yeah, for sure. I try to, find guys that kind of take my similar route. Um, Not specifically like the 5 stars or the guys that go one and done.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys I kind of look up to that I watch a lot are like Austin Reed, Buddy Hield, played 3, 4 years in college, were underdogs, to just kind of prove themselves. And I think, that's kind of what I look for. And I do watch those guys a lot. So,
Now that you're moving back to high school ball, I think this question could have been a little bit more interesting for prep because of how loaded some of these teams have gotten, but this could be a little bit more special for you to call out a team. Who are you most looking forward to playing against next year?
man, I want it all. I want all the team. I team on the court, because I haven't played, high school basketball. So, we have I don't know if you're familiar, but there's a Eldo La Clava rivalry. I'm pumped for that. I'm pumped to go to all the away games, the former state champs, Volcano. I'm just excited to play everyone. Everyone, likes to run their mouth. So, I'm just excited for that.
You talked a little bit earlier and said you kind of like to shut the haters up online.
Yeah.
Do you expect boos from opposing crowds? Because you say you're
100%.
looking forward to away games. What do you kind of expect? What do you like? Is there going to be a major difference for you going from high level prep ball to now playing more local high school basketball with your school?
For sure. For sure. In prep, there's crowds, like there's big crowds, but there's no like students and crazy,
Right.
crazy. If I go to a away game this year, I'm definitely going to expect, the overrated. Um, and I'm ready for it. I'm excited. Even at our home games, if you kind of look into New Mexico basketball, like our games get packed. So I am excited for all the chants. I'm excited to go on the road and stuff to the smaller towns. I'm just here to embrace the journey and just win. So.
Well, Dylan, I appreciate you coming on. My last question is the question I ask everybody. What was the favorite on-court shoe this past season? What do you think it's going to be this upcoming year? I don't know. Was ABC Under Armour?
Our AU team was, our high school team wasn't.
You could just kind of wear whatever, I'm assuming then with
And yeah, my favorite shoe this year, I it's a tough one.
I see the shoe boxes in the back, so you're definitely not lacking in
Yeah.
selection.
Um, my favorite shoe to play in, I like playing in KD's and Paul George's a lot. I think my favorite one though is I like the GT cut a lot. The first ones, I was able to get a pair of those. I think next year, I think I'm excited to rock the. I think I'm a. I think my senior year I'm gonna wear Kobe's only. So
Is
I
there
think
certain colorways? Is there certain models? Because those things aren't cheap. So
now any model, I'm gonna switch it up though. So I just gotta have. I feel like I looked up to Kobe. He was my favorite player. So I feel like this year I'm gonna wear his shoe throughout the year. So I'm just excited for that and just excited to kill.
if you can get your one pair specifically, my favorite pair of all time is the Kobe 9 what the high tops. I
Yeah.
had those when I played. And those are the coldest basketball shoes I've ever had in my life. I sold them. I sold everything once I stopped playing, but I have one pair. But the GT cuts are one I've heard a lot. But Kobe's aren't cheap. So that's gonna be a couple of probably Christmas presents. But with
Yeah.
NAL now, I mean, wherever you ended up committing, you're probably getting a nice little care package too from the school. So I'm sure you're gonna get some team exclusive stuff as well. But
Hope so.
Dylan, I appreciate you coming on, man, and chopping it up with me. Anything to shout out before we get out of here?
Shout out my fam, my dad, who's been there for me. Shout out Brandon, for guiding me and just my trainers and my friends who've helped me along, especially to Steve. You know, that's my guy. He's been training me every day. So that's pretty much it. But thank you for having me on, man. I know it took us a while to do this, but I'm glad we got to sit down and talk.
Yeah, absolutely. My buddy is probably gonna have to move back to New Mexico for the rest of the year. He comes to GCU, but he's probably going to go now that he's graduated back to New Mexico. I got a reason now. I know he lives in Albuquerque, so now I got a reason to come out to New Mexico and probably catch a game or two. But
Yeah.
I'll definitely try to make it out there, man. But wish you nothing but the best of luck, and excited to see what happens in your future this upcoming year, being back at La Cueva. And as your recruitment picks up, man, you're one of the top players I've seen from the state. And even though there's not been a lot there, that means if you're special or if you're getting recruited, that means you're special. And you definitely got something that teams clearly like. And I think you're just going to flourish this year, man. But appreciate you coming on. This is episode 3 of the Off the Court podcast. Make sure you go follow us on all platforms. And we'll be back next week.
Perfect, man. Thank you so much.